This kind of picture has been seen by everyone. It shows 10,000 XRP, which is a cryptocurrency that is accepted by many banks, financial market platforms, audit firms, and more. However, how are we going to get there? What are the use cases that will get us to these points? Derivatives are likely one of the most important topics. Some people may not fully understand how XRP can really change all of these markets around the world. In this minute, I'd like to go even more in depth into swaps and why XRP might be the best asset in the world to use for all of this. I'll set this up for you now. I've never seen this movie before. I'm not sure when this came out, but keep this in mind. The derivatives market will decide the prices of coins just like it does for gold, wheat, and other assets around the world. Look it over. What I told your audience today is that I see crypto as more than just a new type of asset. I see it as a new architecture of finance, a new way to figure out who owns what and who is sending what to whom, using the internet as the basis for value instead of the balance sheets of private institutions. This is a brand new structure and way of setting prices in any product market. This is not how the price of the base good is set in the physical or spot market. These are the places where the price is set. For price discovery to work, there must be mature derivative markets. These are the only places where buyers and sellers can agree on a price. That's why a jewelry store doesn't set the price of gold. It takes place in the market for swaps. In a grain silo, the price of wheat is not set. It takes place in the derivatives market. At the gas pump, the price of oil is not set. It takes place in the derivatives market. Setting up healthy swaps that work well for crypto will give a solid foundation for finding and setting crypto prices. Because of this, the futures market will decide the price of things like XRP in the future. I also wanted to see what else makes XRP so special in this market, so take a look at this. XRP is becoming more and more known as a useful asset for improving liquidity in the derivatives market. This is because of the unique features of its technology, market structure, and regulatory process. This will blow your mind. Check this out. Very high cash-in speed. With a market value of about $120 billion, 0 cents, and high trade volumes on both the spot and derivatives markets, XRP is one of the most liquid digital assets in the world. For derivatives, this availability is very important. The XRP ledger settles transactions almost instantly for 3 to 5 seconds, making it easy to enter and leave large positions without causing big price changes. And it only costs a very small amount of money. This lets collateral move and margin calls happen quickly, which is useful for arbitrage, risk management, and high-frequency trading in derivatives. Now, most of these financial institutions have huge computer centers with AI and other things that can trade these things faster than a person can. XRP will unlock new trading capabilities that will let these machines trade even more, even faster, and with even more deep liquidity. Effective bridge asset for sending money around the world. This is another thing that makes XRP different, more so than, say, Ethereum or Bitcoin. Because XRP is a bridge coin, accounts don't need to be funded ahead of time. There are trillions of dollars locked up all over the world right now, which is why we talk about it a lot on this show. That money's also old. It's losing value over time because the cash it's in is becoming less valuable. So the longer this goes on, the less likely it is that this money will be used for personal loans, business loans, home loans, school loans, or anything else. The bank could use that money to help the country that is freeing up some of that value and offer more services to their customers. I've seen that between $5, 0 cents, and $10 trillion, 0 cents is locked up in US banks around the world so that all of this money can be serviced. Just think about how much good that money can do when it comes back and is used for something else. If there is on-demand funding for cross-border transactions, capital isn't stuck in a lot of different places. This means it can be put to better use, like in the derivatives market, where quick collateral rebalancing is very important. Market makers and liquidity sources can quickly move between exchanges, so they don't have to keep large amounts of inventory on each one. This lowers the risk of dealing with other parties. It sounds like they don't have to keep other funds on one, two, three, or four platforms. Instead, they can easily move the money back and forth between them because the transfers only take 3 to 5 seconds. For the most part, you'd have to wait for the clearing before you could move money between funds or goods. It doesn't matter how long that took, it won't help this new system. Right away, you need it. You're also talking about the force of institutional regulation. Derivatives of XRP are now regulated and can be bought on all the big platforms. Pay attention to these sites: Kraken, CME Group, and Coinbase. You are also on OKX, BitGet, Mexi, KuCoin, Delta Exchange, Bitfinex, Femex, and FTX. Okay, that's no longer true. Of course, you can also use Binance, Deribit, Crypto.com, Kraken, Mexi, Margex, OKX, Binx, Bybit, Coinbase, and all of these other financial sites such as the CME Group. You have Robinhood too, right? We'll also talk about that. Please allow me to finish this other piece of information I wish to share with you. We've just talked about the CME Group, Coinbase, Kraken, and how they offer both regular and nano contracts for traders of all levels. This clear regulation and infrastructure brings in institutional capital, which makes markets more safe and increases liquidity even more. The number of XRP derivative trades has increased, and a lot of them are coming from outside of North America. This shows that people around the world want and trust XRP as a reliable underlying currency. Now the US is making up for lost time with its rules. First, there will be stable coins, and then there will be rules for digital assets. The question is, what will happen when those problems no longer stop the US? A place where banks feel safe, where they know the rules and will follow them. A huge amount of XRP is being used in these areas outside of the US. In the end, it will only be a test bed for Ripple and XRP, and the US will accept it. I think that a lot of people in the US will use XRP. How big? We're not sure. Is it going to be 3 or 5% of everything? It's going to be bigger, right? It goes without saying that we want bigger, but I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis using force more and more. In markets based on XRP, this means that traders are actively using XRP for complex tactics, which helps find prices and make markets more liquid. You also have a stable and deep business. Futures and options put pressure on XRP, which makes the market more liquid and stable. This is because these products can be used for long-term and short-term positioning, arbitrage, and hedging. This lowers fluctuation and gets more players and demand from both retail and institutional sources. What else does XRP have to offer? Effective use of capital, global access, and trust in the governing system. Don't forget that Ripple is now going to be a bank. Do you plan to open an account? That's my question. Are you going to switch banks if you can open an account at Ripple Bank? I would. You know it. I'd like to be the first customer. Please, I'd sign up right away. Also, we did talk about CME Group and the $1.20 quadrillion futures market. Yes, there are other assets like Algorand and HBAR that are also part of the ISDA. Think that derivatives will use a variety of assets rather than just one that rules them all. There are, however, already all of these choices on some of these platforms worth trillions of dollars, which is nice to see.